Good evening, my dear students. This is a continuation on our topic on descriptive statistics. And in this video lecture, we are going to talk about measures of position. This is the first part on this topic. And dito, pag-usapan natin yung percentiles, deciles, and quartiles. The three of them are calculated based on the rank or position of a data within an ordered data set. So what we do here is we would arrange our data from lowest to highest and pinpoint or locate where is a certain percentile is. For example, nasaan yung 50th percentile or nasaan yung third quartile in the dataset. Let's have some definitions first. When we say we are getting the percentile of a dataset, we are dividing the dataset into 100 equal parts. So here is 100 squares or pertaining to the data parts or data points. P25 means this is where percentile or the 25th percentile is located. Ibig sabihin, 25% of this data is lower than this particular data here. Remember, we would be arranging the data from lowest to highest, right? So whatever the data is before P25, and that is equal to 25% of the data, that is lower than this data at P25. Here is P50 or the 50th percentile. 50% of the data is lower than this, while also 50% of the data is higher than this data point. This is P75 or the 75th percentile. 75 of the data set 75% of the data set is lower than this. And of course, the remaining 25 is higher, of course. And then here is P 100 or the 100 percentile. All of the data sets or all of the data points is lower than this particular data point. Okay, so if you have 100 data in your set, one of them would be in each of these squares if we divide them into 100 equal parts, right? So that's P50 and P75. How about deciles? If in percentiles we divide our dataset in 100 equal parts, pag decile at tigsa 10 equal parts. So we would represent them like this. So here I have 10 squares. This is D5 or the fifth decile or decile number 5. This is equivalent to P50 because 50% of the data is lower than this. This is D7 or seventh decile, the seventh decile or equivalent to P70, right? 70% of the data is lower than this. And this is the D10 or the 10th decile. So all of the data is lower than this one, than D10. So if we have, again, 100 data points, tigsasampo in each of these positions. Quartiles, from the word quarter, you would be dividing your data into 4 equal parts. So you will have quartile 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the lower 25% of the data would be located here at quarter 1 or quartile number 1 or the first quartile. 50%, the middle 50% would be here in quartile 2 and quartile 3, and the top 25% would be here in quartile 4. So kung meron kang 100 data set or 100 data points in your set, for each quartile, of course, there will be 25 data points, right? So that's how we will visualize quartile, percentile, and decile. Again, I just want to remind you that you can find equivalency between the three of them. So quartile 1, that's just the same as saying percentile 25 or the 25th percentile. quartile 2, 50% of the data is lower than quartile 2. That's also P50. Quartile 4 is equivalent to 100 percentile. You can also convert decile to percentile like this. So the first decile that's equivalent to the 10th percentile. The third decile is equivalent to the 30th percentile. And the 10th decile, that's equivalent to the 100th percentile. Okay, so where do we use this percentiles, deciles, and quartiles? Saan natin siya pwedeng magamit? So most of the time, we might have seen this, that when we take national examinations like the NCAI, when the result came to us, meron doon nakalagay na we are at the 85 percentile. Our score in mathematics is at the 85 percentile. That just means that yung iyong score ay if you are at the 85 percentile, that means 85 of the students you scored higher than the 85% of the students who take the exam. Okay? And then there are 15% higher than you or ahead of you. So, saan siya pwedeng gamitin ni teacher? So, for example, nagpa-test si teacher and then he was able to compute the scores. He can arrange the scores from lowest to highest and figure out the top 10% of the class by getting the 90th percentile. And then he can also know the bottom 25% of the class by getting the P25 or the 25th percentile. So maybe he would think of giving them remediation, the bottom 25%. And the top 10% ay syempre sila yung mga advance. They can advance to the next lesson, let's say. This also have some applications in business, for example. So in marketing and customer segmentation. So let's say you were able to compute the 10th decile, so that this portion would be the top 10%. And you were also able to compute the third decile. So below this point is the bottom 30% of the customers. Maybe this is in terms of purchases, amount of purchases or amount of units that they buy, that they ordered from you. So, pwedeng ang gawin mo doon sa mga customers belonging here in the bottom 30%, you can think of marketing strategies to turn them into loyal customers, right? And then for the customers belonging here at this segment, maybe you can think of some exclusive offers that you can give them. You can also use percentiles, deciles, and quartiles in comparing different performances, like for example, in terms of sales. So let's say, for example, these are the units sold by the members of Team Alpha, and then these are the units sold by the members of Team Beta. So you can compare the performance of the members relative to each other. Ikumpara mo sila sa isa't isa. So for example, si one member from Team Alpha, they were able to sell 175 units of products. The same with the member of Team Beta. Pero sino sa kanila yung mas mataas yung sales if ikukumpara sa mga sales ng mga kasama nila sa team, right? So who between the two of them? So that's how you can, that's one way of making use of the percentiles, deciles, and quartiles, these three measures of possession. Okay, so we are going to discuss several types of problems kung saan mo siya may encounter or saan mo pwedeng gamitin yung tatlo. So this is going to be, let's say, the first formula. So the possession is equal to whatever the percentile is divided by divided by 100, and then multiply that with how many data points you have plus 1. So if you would visualize it, let's say these are your data points. The question might be asking, nasaan yung 25th percentile? Which of these data points is occupying the 25th percentile? Okay, so let's say we measured the heights of the students in centimeter. These are 12 data points, and pinapanap sa'yo yung third quartile. You are asked to get Q3. Before we go ahead solving it, we can actually estimate where is it, right? When we say third quartile, that is the point kung saan nandoon yung 75% ng data. 75% of your data. So since this is 12 data points, ang kalahati niyan is 6, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So your midpoint, your quartile 2, right, is occupied, or it can be at the middle of 160 and 162 centimeters. So third quartile is at the 75% if we are going to put this in a number line, diba? So maybe it might be here, 166 and 168. Let's try to compute it. So we have an answer, an accurate answer. So QK is equal to K over 4 and plus 1. So K is the specific quartile. So ang K mo dito is 3. Yung K mo dito is 3. N is 12 because you have 12 data points plus 1. Let me just go back to the original formula. So, sir, bakit ganun? Nag-iba. Akala ko ba dito it's 100? Would have to divide it by 100. But remember, this is specific to percentile. What we are computing here is the quartile. Pero ganun pa rin naman yun. Kasi this is going to be 3 over 4, di ba? 13 kasi 12 plus 1. 3 over 4. If you convert quartile to percentile, that's 75 over 100, right? 75 over 100. That's 3 over 4 in lowest term. Okay? Bakit 4 yung nasa ilalim nun, sir? Pag quartile. Kasi nga, di ba, we only have 4 quartiles in a data set. Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. Okay? So you can also think of this as saying, what is the 75% of the data set plus 1? Okay? What is the 75% of 12, my data set, but I will still add plus 1, plus 1. Okay? So if I compute this, I get 9.75. That's not your answer. That's just telling you that the third quartile is at the 9.75 or 75th position. Siyempre, wala naman tayo ditong 0.75. So, ang gagawin na natin, i-round off na natin siya to 10. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So, a while ago, in-estimate natin, it's between 166 to 168. The exact value is somewhere in between them. But for the sake of simplicity, i-round off na lang natin siya, and we are just going to say that 168 is the location of the third quartile. Okay? If you want to interpret it, ibig sabihin yan, the rest of the students, 75% of the students is or has a height of lower than 168 centimeters. Okay? Okay. Now, what is the median height? So, median, middle. You can look for the P50. You can look for the D5. But I think here I look for the Q2. That's all of those are the same naman, di ba? So the Q2, if percentile yon, that's 50 over 100. If decile yon, that's 10, that's 5 over 10, right? So here I choose to compute for the second quartile. So that's 2 over 4 times 13, 6.5. 6.5, the seventh position. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So between the two of this, we didn't find the exact um, value between 160 and 162. We just chose to round up. So it's in the seventh position, which is occupied by 162 centimeters. Okay. Okay. What is the value of the seventh decile or D7? So again, I guess our data is the sales in terms of number of units sold. We have 12 data points. Sige, let's first try to guess where is it or which among these values, sales number of units sold, is occupying the seventh decile. So again, the fifth decile would be between 6 and 7, right? So I guess it's the seventh decile would be around here, 160, 165. Okay. So nagbago ng konti yung ating mga symbols. DK, I will put 7 here in the K. 7, I will put 7 here. N is 12, 12 plus 1 again. So 7 over 10 times 13. Again, bakit 10, sir? Because I remember we have 10 deciles as well. 10 deciles. So if we do this calculations, it's 9.1. The numeral in the ninth position. So it's 165. Okay. What score corresponds to the 80th percentile? So these are, I guess, let's say these are test scores. 80th percentile, 30. This is a rows of 10. So we have 3 rows. That means our data is 30 in total. Ano ang half noon? 15. So this is 50th percentile. Somewhere between the two of them is the 50th percentile. If I go here, 33, 33%, 33%, 33%, diba? We can divide it by that. So here, I already have 66.6666%. Maybe around here is 70. Maybe around here is the 80th percentile. Okay? Sige, let's use this formula. The PAT. So 80 divide 100 times 30 plus 1, 31. So it's in the 25th percentile. So this is 20, 24, 25. Okay, so that's going to be 92. That means 80% of the score is lower than 92. Okay, so much for that. Problem type number 2. Dito naman, bibigay sa'yo yung posisyon, bibigay sa'yo yung data point, tapos kailangan mong sabihin kung pang ilang percentile yun, or pang ilang decile, or pang ilang quartile. So I have this data points. Ito yung yellow. What is this percentile? What percentile is this? Okay, so again, we have the sales in units. We have 12 data points. Which decile does a sales figure of 155 units fall into? Nasaan yung 155 in my data? So it is here. So doon siya sa right in the middle of the data set. So we are guessing this is D5, D6, right? So formula is K equal to D over K divided by N plus 1 times 10. We are just multiplying by 10 kasi we are looking for decile. Kanina, may formula is the position, pang ilan siya in the data set, divided by number of data points plus 1. Lagi ka magpa plus 1 dun sa number of data points. times 100 because you are looking for percentile. Here, it's only times 10 since you're looking for a decile. So, pangpito siya over 13, 7 of 13 times 10. Okay? Times 10. So, it's 5.4. 5.4. So, yung pang-anim, the 6th decile. It falls on the 6th decile. So, we were correct, right? Since here is the 5th decile and here would be the 6th decile. That means that since 155 is at the 6th decile, 60% of the sales units, sales figure is lower than that. It should be lower. It is, yes. This point, 155 is higher than all of this. Also, ang sinasabi ko kanina, all of these points are lower than 155. Okay, how about this? We are looking for percentile. Saan daw percentile pumapatak yung 75? So, 75, nito siya. I guess it's also in the middle. Pang 15 eh. P50. So, again, my multiplier here is 100. Pang 15 siya sa data na 30. 30 plus 1. Multiply ko lang sa 100. Okay? So, res, it's in the 50th percentile. It's higher than 50% of the scores. Okay, the third problem type is kailangan mong ikumpara yung dalawang dataset and which of the data point actually is performing better compared with the rest of the group. Sige. Here we are comparing academic performances. There are two classes, classes A and B, which took the final exam. These are the scores. There are 10 students in each of the class. Meron dyan dalawang students na naka-80 parehas from class A and class B. But then, ang tinatanong sa atin is, aling score na 80, aling student na nakascore ng 80 ang actually nag-perform better compared with his class, compared with his peers. Okay? Just looking at the data, looking at the position here, masasabi mo na this will get a higher percentile, right? Kasi mas malayo siya. When we rank it, it's right here in this position. It's higher in the ranking in class B. While the 80 here is one bit lower compared with his peers. So if we compute for class A, we have 10 students, so 11 here kasi 10 plus 1. 80 here is occupied at the 6th position times 100. So this one here is the 54th or 55th percentile if we round it up. For the class B computation, that's on the 64th percentile. So that means yung student from class B performed better. It scored higher than 64% of the class. For the student at class A na nakascore ng 80 only scored higher than 55% of the students in that particular class. So we can say that the student from class B actually performed better if ikukumpara sa mga scores ng mga kaklase niya. Okay? Okay, now we are looking at income distributions. So this is in terms of dollars and also in terms of thousands. So what you see here are dalawa lang, di ba? But this means 55,000. Okay, this 90 here actually means 90,000. Ang question sa atin is, hanapin daw natin yung 75th percentile for both of this dataset. So, ang gagamitin natin dyan ay yung isang formula. So, the percentile, which is 75, divided by 100, since there are 100 equal parts in a percentile. Kasi multiply natin sa number of units, data points, plus 1. So, it's 11. So for the first neighborhood X, the 75th percentile is at the 8th position. That's also true for neighborhood Y. Okay, since pares naman silang 10 ang data points. Alin yung number, what is the income sitting at the 8th position or at the 75th percentile? For neighborhood X, that's $90, $90,000. For neighborhood Y, that's $85,000. So $5,000 less than neighbor X. Okay, so ibig sabihin po nun, mas mataas yung percentile, 75th percentile doon sa neighborhood X. We can also say that, relatively speaking, mas nakakamariwasa yung mga household in neighborhood X. Okay, so those are the three types of problems that you can solve using percentiles, deciles, and quartiles.